Hey, happy days, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Let's talk about the expression straighten up and fly right. Now, this expression is what they call a modern African-American expression. Now, that made me laugh today because I realized that the source of this information, where I'm getting these idioms or what things mean, is from a book that was actually published in 1996. So it's not particularly modern in the way they describe things, in the depth at which they go into sharing the meanings of these. And I probably should have hopped online and done a little more research into where it came from, what it really means, but it doesn't even matter because this is kind of a biggie for me. I tend to be very direct in my approach, very direct in my coaching, very direct and very clear on simplifying things. Even though I, like most human beings, try to overcomplicate the daylights out of everything, I try to boil things down for people that I'm working with and simplify them. Get down to the core process, get down to the foundation, make sure the foundational things are solid before we go on to doing other things or working on other areas of growing and building and supersizing a business, your business, my business, anyone's business. Now, there is a straight line process, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, on the foundation of anything and everything that we do. But being human beings, being unique butterflies and unicorns, each and every one of us, especially those of us that are entrepreneurial or business owners, we have to do everything our own way, right? We got to do it our own way. And almost always, there isn't an overnight success to any of this, right? There isn't one size fits all, one method, one thing that works for everybody. Now, the basic foundation and process to achieve anything, to get success in any business, any industry, it's the same for every business, everything, right? The step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5 foundational things are the same for everybody, and they're the same for everything, and they're the same for every type business. I don't care what type business you're in. However, almost no one on the planet has ever or will ever just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get what they want. We don't do it. We have to, number one, figure out who we are, what it is we want to accomplish, what our goal is, and how we want to get there. And that is almost never a straight line. As much as we would like it to be, it almost is never a straight line. Anytime you see an overnight success, guess what? Dig into the story of the person, the business, the thing. It's probably not an overnight success. I think of some of my favorite businesses, and they're totally different. No, they're super successful, but they're totally different than what they started out as. Or they're on their 6th or 7th iteration before it finally takes off and people really know about it and they figure it out. Or they're on their 27th, 37th business try before they actually hit the home run, hit the one thing that helps them make their mark, before they really figure out what it is that they want to do. And that's seldom, if ever, a straight line. Now, I'm super guilty of not necessarily using this exact expression per se, but in telling people to come back to the basics, come back to the foundation, come back to the process that they need to follow. Make it your own, but do the core steps that get you the success that you want, that get you to the goal that you want. I know I use this a lot with my kids because they would get detracted and distracted with things. My son more so than my daughter. My daughter, and I think this is a little bit of a difference between men and women. Men tend to be very much more direct than women are. For example, if I would ask my daughter to go do 1 or 2 or 3 things, she would say, okay, and then she would go do those 3 things and she would come back when they were done. If I asked my son to do more than one thing, he would go to do the one thing, probably not do the one thing, the first thing. He would probably, maybe if I was lucky, he would do one of the 3 things and he would never come back, right? He would forget. I needed to tell him, do this one thing, and then when he was done with that, I would give him another thing to do. And you can argue with me, I'd love to have a discussion about this, but I found the same was true in corporate America and in my businesses and working with other people. And it's not just a gender thing. There's some people that you can give a series of steps to or several things to do, and they will figure out what and how to get that done most efficiently and effectively for them, and they'll just do it. The vast majority of people don't operate that way. You cannot give them a lot of tasks. That's why, as I've been making this journey from the offline brick and mortar world to the online world, I have really found, and I fell into it too, that there is so much information and so much overload. Unless you have somebody that gives you the direct path and helps you to pull back and stay on that path, you can spend years, if not decades, getting distracted and doing the wrong thing, doing things that just don't matter, or doing things that are better to have other people do than you having to do yourself. So straighten up and fly right. This, of course, comes either from airplanes or birds or whatever, but a lot of times you'll see birds, or like, think of the airplanes now. Why isn't everything a direct flight from point A to point B? Well, because they got all kinds of reasons and algorithms, I'm sure, and formulas for why they need to take different routes and different paths. I'm thinking of this because I was actually looking for a flight yesterday, and I finally gave up and said, I'll do it tomorrow, because I was too tired of looking at all the different options and possibilities. And I'm like, I think I'll just have somebody book this for me, so I don't even have to think about it. Here's the times I have to go. Just set it up for me. Especially when you're doing things, everything with a magnifying glass, it gets super frustrating. So airplanes and birds, they don't always fly a direct path, right? Now, I would say birds are much more intentional in their path and in their flight patterns than human beings are. And they probably are flying more point A to point B than we give them credit for. I think that's true of some of our businesses as well. Sometimes we are on a direct path, but to the outside world, it doesn't look like a direct path. But it is the shortest, best path for us. And that's what we need to keep in mind. Make sure that you're on the direct path for you. And recognize when you are getting distracted or going down the wrong roads or being diverted by challenges that don't even have to be challenges at all. So go ahead, share in the comments below. What do you think about this expression? Are you a direct A to B person? Are you easily distracted like me? Do you want to be doing a million things when you know if you just focus on one thing, you'll have a lot more success and be a lot happier? That's it. Think about this today and share if you've used this expression or not. I know I sure have, especially on my kids. Straight up and fly right. I'm sure I've actually said that to my children on occasions when I think that their behavior's just a little bit off. And guess what? Who am I to judge? Now, as a parent, I get to judge. But as a human being judging other people and other people's businesses, who am I to judge? Maybe that is the most direct route for them. Or maybe I can help guide them in the way that will bring them back to the foundation, make sure they're following the core steps of success, and then let them, make that their own, but make sure that it doesn't take them 10 years to achieve something that they could very easily achieve in a year or less. All right, have an amazing day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow with the makings or the origins of another interesting idiom, because these things do impact us. They do affect us. And a lot of times we never unravel our own beliefs and why we behave the way we do. And it might be something as simple as an expression we heard a lot when we were younger. All right, catch you tomorrow. Bye.